No one could have imagined that in the heart of the wild reserve, a young lioness, with no pride and no support, could defy death itself. To give birth to 6 cubs in the midst of nature's storm, in the vast expanse of the Okavango Nyota Conservancy in Botswana, a once thriving pride of lions roamed freely, their roars echoing across the savannah. But as the cruel hands of fate intervened, poaching and disease ravaged their numbers, leaving behind a sole survivor, a young lioness named Nala, alone and vulnerable. She became a symbol of resilience in a harsh and unforgiving world. Fitted with a GPS collar and under the watchful eyes of a network of surveillance cameras, Nala's every move was monitored by the dedicated conservancy team. Despite her youth, she displayed a wisdom beyond her years, a courage that defied her solitary existence. Like her fallen pride members, Nala preferred the solitude of solo hunts, her golden form a fleeting shadow in the grasslands. As dawn broke one fateful morning, the rangers made a startling discovery. The telltale signs were there. Nala was pregnant for the first time. The news spread like wildfire through the conservancy, a glimmer of hope in the face of recent tragedies. Head Ranger Caballo and veterinarian Amara were immediately assigned to oversee Nala's pregnancy. For long months, they watched with bated breath as her belly swelled, a promise of new life in a land that had seen too much death. But as the days wore on, concern grew. Nala became increasingly lethargic, her movements sluggish and her once proud form now heavy with an unusually large burden. The team's worst fears were realized when the GPS data revealed a chilling fact. Nala had been lying motionless for over 18 hours. In the wild, such inactivity could only mean danger. With hearts racing, Caballo and Amara rushed to her last known location, praying they weren't too late. What they found was a scene of both horror and wonder. There in a small clearing lay Nala, her body racked with the pains of a difficult labor. 3 tiny cubs already lay by her side, mewling weakly, but it was clear the ordeal was far from over. Nala's golden coat was matted with blood, her eyes glazed with exhaustion as she fought to bring more lives into the world. Acting swiftly, Amara administered a supportive injection, her skilled hands working to ease Nala's suffering. And then, as if by some miracle, 3 more cubs emerged into the world. 6 lion cubs, born to a lone mother in the heart of the wild. It was unprecedented. A moment that would be etched in the annals of the Conservancy's history. But the battle for survival was far from over. As Caballo and Amara watched with bated breath, they realized one of the newborns wasn't breathing. Time seemed to stand still as Amara sprang into action, her fingers performing delicate chest compressions on the tiny, lifeless form. Seconds stretched into eternity until, with a feeble gasp, the cub drew its first breath. Yet the ordeal had taken its toll. 2 of the cubs, later named Keto and Amani, were alarmingly weak. With heavy hearts, the team made the difficult decision to separate them from their mother. Whisking them away to a special care center where they could receive round-the-clock attention, as the sun rose on a new day, Nala slowly regained her strength. Her maternal instincts, dormant until now, blossomed as she tenderly cared for the 4 remaining cubs. Her gentle licks and soft purrs were a lullaby to the newborns, a promise of protection in a world full of dangers. For 6 anxious days, Caballo and Amara divided their time between Nala's makeshift den and the care center where Keto and Amani fought for their lives. It was a tense period, filled with sleepless nights and worried consultations. But nature, in its infinite wisdom, had other plans. On the 7th day, a reunion that brought tears to the eyes of even the most hardened rangers took place. Keto and Amani, now strong enough to return to their mother, were carefully brought back to Nala's side. The team watched with bated breath, unsure of how the young mother would react to the cubs she had been separated from for so long. But they needn't have worried. As soon as the familiar scent reached her nostrils, Nala's eyes lit up with recognition. With a tenderness that belied her wild nature, she gently licked their tiny foreheads, welcoming them back into the fold. It was a moment of pure magic, a testament to the unbreakable bond between mother and child. News of Nala's miraculous birth spread like wildfire. Social media platforms buzzed with updates. International conservation organizations shared her story, and suddenly, the eyes of the world were on this brave lioness and her 6 cubs. Scientists and researchers flocked to the conservancy, confirming what the team already knew. This was one of the rarest cases of sextuplet lion births ever recorded. Nala's story became more than just a tale of survival. It was a beacon of hope, a reminder of nature's resilience in the face of adversity. In response to the global attention, the conservancy's boundaries were expanded, providing more protected land for Nala and her growing family. As the weeks turned into months, the cubs thrived under their mother's watchful eye. They grew strong and healthy, learning the ways of the savannah from the most dedicated of teachers. Nala's hunting skills, honed during her solitary days, were passed down to her offspring. They learned to stalk through the tall grass, to listen for the faintest rustle of prey, to work together as a unit just as their ancestors had done for generations. Perhaps the most heartwarming development was the progress of Keto and Amani. Once the weakest of the litter, fighting for every breath, they now bounded across the plains with unbridled energy. Their early struggles seemed to have instilled in them a fierce determination, and they quickly became the most prominent members of the young pride. One evening, as the African sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Caballo stood atop a small hill overlooking the conservancy. Below him, on a patch of sun-warmed grass, lay Nala and her 6 cubs. The young lions were sprawled out in various states of relaxation, some playfully batting at each other, others dozing in the fading light. A gentle breeze carried the sound of their youthful roars across the savannah, a melody that spoke of life, of continuity, of hope. Beside Caballo, Amara smiled, her eyes misting slightly as she took in the scene. "We saved the future," she said softly, her voice filled with pride and wonder. Caballo nodded, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. They had done more than save a lioness and her cubs. They had witnessed a miracle, had played a part in ensuring the continuation of a species that had roamed these lands for millennia. As darkness fell, and the first stars began to twinkle in the vast African sky, Nala rose to her feet. With a soft chuff, she gathered her cubs, leading them towards the shelter of a nearby copse. The young family disappeared into the shadows, but their legacy would live on, a testament to the indomitable spirit of life itself. And so, in the heart of the Okavango Nyota Conservancy, a new chapter had begun. Nala, once a lone survivor, now stood as a symbol of hope and resilience. Her cubs, against all odds, would grow to become the foundation of a new pride, their bloodline carrying the strength and courage of their remarkable mother. As the night settled over the savannah, the roar of a lioness echoed across the land, a sound of triumph, of life renewed, and of a future secured against the odds. In the vast tapestry of nature, Nala and her cubs had woven a story of survival, love, and the enduring power of life itself.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please comment 1. And if you didn't, just hit like. See you in the next videos.